Albert Einstein said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Robert Collier said that success is the sum of all efforts repeated day in and day out. Hi, I am Juan Navarro, this is Advanced Quality Programs, and I invite you to join me to explore the quality philosophies to apply them to our lives. Today, we are going to talk about recognizing the characteristics of a problem in the path of quality. Having defined our problem in the previous step, we explained in last week's podcast that our goal now is to investigate the differences between expectations and results, the current situation in both processes and product. Here it is important to understand all variables and parameters that influence the system. Success will depend in our ability to isolate the system in such a way that we can understand which factors generate which effects, in other words, identified patterns of behavior. If I wanted to explain this stage in a technical way, my first step would be to install a system of measures with instruments that allow me to periodically collect data in a repeatable and reproducible condition, isolating during a representative period of time the system, that allowing me to have a collection of data to analyze trends and the relationships to specific parameters and behaviors. But I would have to explain to you some more advanced statistical concepts than a 10-minute capsule allows me to. In future editions, we will explain what a system of measure is, what a trend is, and how to collect data. My goal today is that we understand how to identify parameters and isolate them with their causes. If we managed to define our problem successfully last week, now we know the difference between the it is and the it is not. Based on the it is and the should be, we will need to investigate the causes of that deviation. Using last week's example, when I had that elbow pain since I fell to the ground at the school, my natural assumption would be that I hurt my elbow when I fell at school, and that is the cause of my problem. If I confirm that there was no pain before that event, theoretically the cause of my problem was this event, and preventing it to happen again, I will avoid having that pain in the future. When I successfully identify the event, this and the reason for this, I can say that I found a root cause. Identifying a root cause allows me to know what factors result in the nature, magnitude, location, timing, and consequences of an event. With this information, I will be able to identify behaviors, actions, and conditions necessary to avoid unwanted effects. In other words, you can prevent the repetition of similar harmful events and promote actions that generate a better result or desired situation. Now, we are going to isolate the event. I fell to the ground at school and ask questions. Why did I fall? Because I tripped on. Why did I trip on? Because there was a border I was not able to see at first sight. I can assume that the root cause of my pain is to have tripped on with a border on the ground not evident at my first sight. Now my task is to check if that has happened in other occasions, maybe to some other people. If I can confirm that with a repeatable behavior or pattern, then I have successfully identified my root cause. The action of asking over and over again until I find the root cause is known as 5 whys. The theory says that if you can answer 5 times why, you will most likely find the root cause. To confirm the root cause, using the 5 why logic, you must ask the following. 1. Why? And identify the causes associated with each step in the sequence towards the problem. Why are these factors related to the problem? And 2. Ask why until the point of the time where the failure or crisis or problem has happened. For each behavior or condition, action and inaction, there will be a timeline to explain it. Now, the more repeated I apply this technique, the faster and easier will be to identify the root causes of problems. Knowing how to identify patterns and trends will help me to implement effective corrective and preventive actions, as we will find out in the next steps. Your current goal is to become a good inspector. By the way, there is a risk you need to keep in mind, something that we call confirmation bias. We all tend to selectively gather or remember information with the tendency to prove our own hypothesis. The effect is stronger when the information has an emotional content and we have firmly rooted beliefs on our initial thought. Therefore, we tend to read the evidence ambiguously and support an existing posture. A classical example of confirmation bias is the cause of a flu. I got sick because when I went out for a walk, it was raining. How? It was raining when I went out for a walk, and that is why I got sick. As if the rain brought to me the flu virus into my body, and then I got sick. Even worse, if we have somebody to support this hypothesis, then it gets some validation and it is more difficult to get out of that trap. The best way to avoid these preconceptions is to bring somebody else that is not involved in that condition. The more rooted and more invested my suppositions are, the harder it is to avoid this confirmation bias. I recommend you reviewing your hypotheses and conclusions with an impartial person using always validated and confirmed data. This week, I challenge you to find the root cause of your problem, avoiding confirmation bias, and using the 5 why methodology, as we described today. Let me know how it went. This was all for this week. I will thank all of you for your comments, and if you enjoyed the video, hit like. I appreciate your subscription to the channel, and I will leave you with a quote from Mike Tyson until next week. It is good to know how to read, but it is dangerous to know how to read and not how to interpret what you're reading. Do not forget to hit the bell and see you next week.